All right, away from that, let's get to our discussion now. And James Mamboleo is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. James, good to see you this morning. So many things happening in the country, but I'd like to start at the top. If you have a copy of your standard newspaper, as a headline, Ngirici may beef with Ruto and Waiguru. I'm taking you back to the judiciary in a little while, but let's talk about this story. It's top trending on social media. So it's the one about the election of the DCI boss to Interpol. But let's talk about Ngirici first, James. If you read this story, is this an imminent move for Ngirici, and why is she so unhappy?
Of course, that is part of the political matrix and calculations ahead of 2022. You know that up to the time that Honorable Waiguru moved from, or purportedly claimed that she has now moved from Jubilee to UDA, Ngirici was a key pillar from Kirinyaga, and she was, of course, poising herself for running for election as governor Kirinyaga, and Waiguru moving to UDA seems to be crowding her out. I think she now is not so sure that she's going to get the ticket for UDA to run in Kirinyaga, and she has made very serious accusations against Governor Waiguru. She says that, you know, Waiguru was responsible for BBI, which UDA was opposing. She says that she's the one who has popularized UDA in Kirinyaga. And there's a way in which the coming of Waiguru into UDA then poses a problem, an existential threat to her in UDA, because ultimately for a politician, if she's not going to get the ticket through which she's going to run for the Kirinyaga election, then gubernatorial election, then that becomes a problem. I think that is why that particular kitchen has become too hot for her to bear.
Very interesting, Mamboleo, but the fact that this party is just still building up, it's not yet even substantially, I mean, without the two by-elections that it showed it prominent in that region, it's still a party that is building up and trying to get as many people as possible. And look at the way Mount Kenya has been behaving. The fact that Waiguru joined doesn't mean that she should feel jolted or she should feel a little bit now squeezed for air in the UDA party. But this is happening. Do you see an imminent exit, or do you think the Deputy President will try and balance it off?
Very true. The question whether UDA is going to become a serious party in that region is another question altogether. But of course, you know, the way politics works, Ken, is that everybody now is jostling to get to the ticket that at least will take her all the way to the election. So at the first stages of, I think, 2020, 2021, Ngirici was sure that since Waiguru was going to be on a Jubilee ticket, then the opposite number definitely in that region was going to be something like UDA. So the fact that now Waiguru has crossed over to UDA then poses a very big problem for her, because she's not so sure what exactly or what role that Waiguru is going to play in the party. And if you see her behaving the way she's doing, then there must be signs on the inside of the UDA operations that seem to indicate to her that she might be playing second fiddle to Waiguru in that particular outfit. And I'm sure that is exactly the reason why she doesn't look extremely happy there.
Okay, so what are the options that Ngirici have on the table? What are these options? If you look at Jubilee Party, about only 6 originally elected Jubilee members are still holding on to Jubilee. Most have moved, have crossed over. So in your mind, let's speculate a little bit. Lawyers don't like speculating, but on this, I'll ask you to speculate and justify why you think those are her options right now.
The Kirinyaga gubernatorial election is going to be a hot ticket, Ken. Of course, we know that Martha Karua might run for that election. We know that there is a prominent PS in this country who might be gunning for that particular position. And so, in my view, Ngirici doesn't have, for instance, the option of going to Jubilee, because Jubilee, as I think, might already be taken. So, you know, she risks running out of a lot of options, because I'm not so sure that ODM is going to field a very serious gubernatorial candidate in that particular election unless the handshake were to break, which I highly doubt is going to happen. So what I think is happening to Ngirici right now is that she has been kicked out of her home, and the likelihood of getting a big home in that particular election is going to be difficult, because believe me, you can, in this coming election, whether we like it or not, the three big parties, especially in that region, are probably only going to be UDA, Jubilee, and at some extent ODM. So, and I think ODM in that particular region is going to play second fiddle to Jubilee and UDA. So ultimately, if you are not on the top two tickets, then there is a very high likelihood that you're going to lose out in an area where loyalty to party is extremely critical. So I see that Ngirici really has a big problem in her hands, unless she manages, for instance, to outmaneuver Waiguru in UDA and probably gets the ticket, or she convinces the stalwarts in Jubilee to give her the ticket or something like that. Otherwise, it's going to be extremely difficult for her in this coming election. I don't think that is an area in which independents work out very well. And so if I were her strategist, I should be thinking overtime to ensure that she stands a chance of winning that gubernatorial election in this coming election.
Okay. And I want to take a short break before we go to our discussion on what's happening at the judiciary and that confidence in the judiciary. But I'd like to ask you this. There are people who are now saying Ngirici is a little bit impatient, because actually Waiguru might just be nominated by Deputy President William Ruto to be his running mate for Deputy President, which means Ngirici will fight it out with whoever will be running for governor in that region, because we already know Martha Karua said she'll be running for governor. But just in case this happens, hasn't she shown that she's a little bit impatient, even as she accuses politics of not having sanity and being a little bit dirty?
You must remember that we are just about 10 months shy of the next presidential or general election. And many politicians are, of course, trying to find a stable home through which they are going to get to the election in 2022. So I don't think that she's being entirely impatient. I think that she must have seen certain telltale signs in the UDA party which made her uncomfortable. How she reacts to this is something that we are yet to see. But you see, the other thing is she has been she was one of the key original supporters of UDA, and she doesn't seem to be too sure what role she's playing anymore. And for a politician, that is normally a very slippery path that they wouldn't want to stand. So I think, for instance, if eventually the Deputy President were to nominate the Honorable Waiguru as his running mate, then probably at that point she has absolutely no reason why not to go back to wherever she was, because that's politics for you, Ken. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. All right. But otherwise, I am sure she also has good reasons to behave the way she's behaving. And of course, UDA is an evolving party. Of course, she probably also has to bide her time and see exactly how it's going to play out in the long run.
Stay with me, James Mamboleo. We're coming back to speak to you. Also, we will be crossing over to Nakuru County, where President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected at the Kenya Military Academy. That's in Lanet for the commissioning of cadets. And Ibrahim Kariuki will be speaking to us. We'll also be crossing over to Wote. Daniel Kariuki is also on standby. For now, let's take a short break on News Center. We're back in a moment.